Oh boy, have we got a super slate on deck for you. Super Regional Weekend is here. Kyle Schass, David Kahn, Dugouts, Dummbells, and Dingers. Follow us on Twitter at 3D Dingers, at Kyle Schass, at SportsCon4. For all those on the YouTube channel, whether you're watching now live or you come back later and inject us into your minds and your soul, thank you so much. Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers on YouTube. It's been a fun year, man, and we have reached 16 remaining teams. We reacted to Regional Weekend on Tuesday's show, Con. We're here to tee up and dive into the nitty-gritty of these 16 remaining, these 8 super regional sites, and we're going to have some fun with it over the next 45 minutes or so. Little-known facts return with David Kahn. And let me tell you, my man, I come in inspired today, all right? It is raining, not necessarily cats and dogs, but it's been a dreary day here in Winston-Salem as I look out the Showcase studios here on Trade Street, and you're in the friendly, comfy confines of one Michael Coulter's office. Currently, a hat tip to him. But as I was leaving the gym this morning, I was getting on the interstate over off Knollwood. I was at LA Fitness. I've made a return the last couple of days to LA Fitness. I've worked out at 3-4 different gyms in like the last week. It's been crazy. I saw a guy jogging. He was jogging over the hill, over the interstate with no shirt on, backwards cap, tight short shorts, and it was raining. It was raining hard. It was not a moderate mist. And this guy had no shirt, backwards hat, shorty shorts. He was doing it, man. I am inspired for the gains.
I love it. Whatever gets you going, man. There's always something new that inspires you pretty much day in and day out. So I always come in wondering what it's going to be. And today it is a shirtless man jogging over the hill on a street in Winston-Salem. So would never have guessed that in a million years. But hey, whatever gets that giddy up in your step, Kyle Schassberger. It's good to be with you. And Super Regionals are here. These matchups are like really cool. Like there's a lot of intrigue with each of these matchups for a variety of different reasons. We're going to get into all of it. We have a lot of exciting announcements to come as well. A new sponsor is on the podcast that we talked about, but it is fully formed and out there on Thursday. Kyle Schassberger is repping them right now. HOMEFIELD Apparel is a sponsor of Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. We are stoked, and we are going to share a lot more about that throughout the podcast. Also, Super Regional Rundown happening. It is live and a go, baby. Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 8 p.m. Varsity Network app, NCAA Baseball, Super Regional Rundown. I believe we have 12 feeds available to us. That's because 4 of the teams don't do radio, so we got all the feeds we can do. Feeds. All right, we got all of the feeds injected into our veins, your ear holes, our voices. Myself, Dan Kortz, Tim Bickford, Trip Hurd will be helping out this weekend. So listen to us for 6 hours, Saturday and Sunday, as we chronicle these teams getting to the College World Series. Because after Monday, Schass, maybe after Sunday, we don't know, but definitely after Monday, we will know the Omaha 8.
We will have them. You and I will make some picks, too. Certainly, we did not do good the first weekend in our bracket challenge.
Mr. 6 out of 16.
Mr. Ethan, though, who is now following us on the social spheres, thank you.
Yes.
He is 17th nationally, if I recall correctly, which you had unveiled earlier in the week. So good for him, man. That man is just blowing away the competition. But you and I will make some picks on, they're well thought out picks, quotation marks, but I will deliver my own spunk on who I might like, and Con certainly has his fun facts. HOMEFIELD, yes, we will get to HOMEFIELD a little bit later in the program, but real quick, because we're going to give them a lot of love. We're going to shower ourselves, and we're going to shower you with it. 3D15, the code is live. Go to homefieldapparel.com. I am repping, pour one out for UCI, the Anteaters. I am repping right now on camera an eater shirt. It is perfect for any human being who likes to consume large amounts of foods, either in small portions, moderate portions, or, in binge-worthy portions, and likes eating contests, as we all know that I do, and I fail miserably at them. But, eaters can really encapsulate the human being in so many different ways. So whether you're a UCI fan or not, Eaters is a shirt that is for you. So that's just an example. Again, more on HOMEFIELD coming up. Con, you bring up the slate, and I will not be a part of the Super Regional rundown this weekend. I leave for Chicago Saturday morning. I'll be out all next week. You and I will talk on Tuesday as we recapture the magic that was Super Regional weekend. But just real quickly again for our audience, it'll start on Friday with 4 of these Super Regionals. Miami at Louisville, 3 o'clock, okay? 3 o'clock on Friday. 6 p.m. start, Florida State and Oregon State in Corvallis. Arizona at North Carolina. That is a 12 noon. So that's the first game. That is the first game. Those two meeting on Friday. And then late night at 9 o'clock, Coastal is at Auburn. And then everyone's going to be playing on Saturday, but you have 4 new Super Regional hosts that will join the party with Game 1. So their series could potentially slip into Monday, but that's UTSA at UCLA, 7 o'clock. This isn't staggered appropriately in terms of time, so let me look for 1 o'clock, Murray State and Duke. West Virginia and LSU will get started at 2, 5, Tennessee and Arkansas, and then at 7, UTSA and UCLA, and you'll have Game 2 of those Friday Super Regionals. So that's the slate, man. I am pumped. And yeah, a shirtless man running down the street is what's got me going this morning. If you noticed on the Twitter machine, it's been a while for me, but it was necessary. Gaines has made its return. The rally, I fired one off this morning, just to remind folks that I am the sheriff in town. I'm not the new sheriff. I am the Gaines sheriff. Okay. Never ending, limitless potential, infinite gains. This guy right here at Kyle Schass. So thank you, sir.
There you go. I'm glad that Gaines has returned. I was worried about you. You've had some arm problems, some knee problems. I mean, you got the kinesiology tape. Your nerve is still pinched, I can tell. But you are fighting through it. I'm back to wearing a knee brace.
Noticed.
Tweaked the knee in kickball on Monday or on Tuesday. That was fun.
Okay.
First inning of a doubleheader. Played through it the entire time.
I'm very proud of you because I would suspect you would not hesitate in removing yourself from the game. And yes, that is on you. So
I actually could not have. We didn't have a substitute, so
okay.
I had no choice. But I was going to play through it anyways. I did ask for a runner when I got on base. I will say that.
Good. I'm glad you rubbed some dirt on it. Yeah, man, it's been a tough few months for me. I haven't. I've maybe taken 5 days off out of the gym in spite of that, but still, the gains, the salvation, the Arnold level salvation, the ALS has not been percolating the way that I intend to. So, yeah, we're about to be back, crap. Baby. We're about to be back. So, Hot Boy Summer, Schass Boy Summer is about to be here. So the vibes are immaculate. And I did buy a copper fit. I feel like Brett Favre, Jerry Rice. I bought a copper fit little sleeve to put on my right arm for my golfing trip that begins on Sunday at an Indiana resort. So I'm going to be sporting a little sleeve. We'll see if that helps the elbow tendonitis, the tennis elbow, whatever I got going on where I haven't been able to straighten my arm out for over a month. And hopefully the knee cooperates, with the kinesiology tape.
Nerve.
But yeah, pinch nerve. Thank you.
Yeah.
We fight through it. But I had a good bis and tries workout. I nearly busted a blood vessel out of my bicep already on this podcast, saying feeds, not my neck, but my bicep. All right, man, you want to jump in these in order? Well, first, let's remind folks about somebody. Baseball Barbecue?
Yeah.
Okay. Baseball Barbecue. Baseballbarbecue.com.
Yeah, baseballbarbecue.com. I mean, Schass, it's where you can go to get patented baseball bat handle barbecue tools, licensed for the best teams in college baseball. They're fun. They're functional. They're perfect for casual fans, serious grillers, or anyone in between. Baseballbarbecue.com. And if you use our code 3D-20, you get 20% off your order at baseballbarbecue.com. You can get cutting boards. You can get grilling tools. You can get T-shirts. We have the Grillies one. We have the If You Grill It, They Will Come. We have a regular baseball barbecue one. They're awesome. We wear them all the time. We love baseball barbecue. Our guy, Brett Mandel, is a rock star. Baseballbarbecue.com is the place to go. Hopefully the rain clears up and you can get some grilling done this weekend while you watch Super Regionals. But there's no better tools to do it with than the tools at Baseball Barbecue.
There has not been at all. 2 teams as we get started here on our Super Regional preview, and some little known facts from Kahn as we get this thing moving now. Again, we'll be with you for the next 40 minutes or so. Let's start with Miami and Louisville. Top left quadrant, if you will. 2 teams with tremendous history. Miami more so, but they haven't been to Omaha since 2016? From 1974 to 2016. I mean, they were practically a mainstay. It was
25 trips.
Yeah, 25 trips in that range. For Louisville, they haven't been since 2013. No, 6-year drought for them. It's been since 2019. They did make it in 19. That was the year that Vanderbilt had won it all. But, Dan McDonald's team has been down. It has been down, but a resurgence here this year. And we get two ACC powers, one of two league-on-league matchups, Arkansas and Tennessee. The other one in the bottom right quadrant, we'll get to Fayetteville. But looking at Louisville, Con, what stands out to you, and who might be your are we going to give a pick before your little-known facts, or let you back that up afterwards, and then we'll give picks?
No, I'll give picks first. So this is interesting to me because both of these teams are getting healthy at the right time. Miami got Derek Williams back in the regional. Louisville got their catcher, Matt Klein, back, who'd been out since late March, and he hit 2 homers in the regional in Nashville. So they're getting right. Both of these teams rely heavily on freshman arms. So I think the massive X factor in this game is twofold. One, which team offensively takes more advantage of the inexperience on the mound. Now, these guys have pitched a full season, and not throwing shade on their abilities, but it's a ratcheted up environment. Which team handles the pressure more on the mound with the freshman arms, and which team offensively is more disciplined, more mature at the plate. And then kind of on a tangent, but at that same vein, Louisville can run like crazy. 152 steals this year, and Miami's catcher's only thrown out 11 base stealers this year. So that's a big number to watch this weekend.
Yeah, Louisville likes to steal bases. They're the only Power 4 team in the top 12 nationally in swiping bags. I just love the symmetry between the two head coaches in a lot of ways. When Dan McDonald took over, Louisville had only been to the College World Series one time in its history. They made it in their first year in 2007. And for J.D. Artiga, he takes over last season. And in year 2, he's got a storied program in Miami on the precipice of getting back to Omaha. And it's been a drought, as we had already documented, since 2016. After they were a regular fixture in Omaha. So those two guys, the trajectory of each of these programs, it's been down here recently, more so for Miami. But, the league familiarity, I think, is gonna bolster this matchup. There's going to be fireworks in Louisville. Louisville is the super regional host with Miami in town. The 2 of 5 ACC teams that we have remaining, just 4 for the SEC. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here because what I'm going to do as we go along, and you can give your little known facts here, I want to show some home field merch for each and every one of these teams. So I got to figure out how to do that. I'm going to present. I'm going to share screen. I need to find a window that features all of my home field items. There it is. So if I expand this, does it look good on the StreamYard screen? Because it's taking up my entire screen. Okay.
Yes, it does. Yes.
All right. So with home field, let me go ahead and tell you, 15% off Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers purveyors. Okay. The code is 3D15.
3D15, by the way. 3D15.
Yeah, don't write out the number 15. Don't be a dodo brain, okay? It's 15. It's the number 15. It's nice and simple. It's 4 characters, 3D15. And this is going to be a part of what we call Around the Diamond, presented by HOMEFIELD Apparel and the Diamonds Classic Collection, because we're previewing the matchup. We're previewing the 8 super regional sites here coming up this weekend. Use that code 3D15 to get 15% off your first order at HOMEFIELD, making quality, thoughtful apparel for more than 190 colleges and universities, Con, and 14 of the 16 teams are represented. There is a teaser. A 15th is coming. I'll let you expand upon that. But 14 of the 16, and here you're going to look at the Louisville page. For those that are watching on YouTube on the stream, and this is high-quality stuff. It reminds me a lot, Con, whether it's the joggers, the pullovers. The Diamond Collection features these pullover vintage jerseys that are super sporty. More than 20 different schools are represented. But you've got basketball-related pullovers. Look at the Louisville men's basketball shooting shirt. I mean, the vintage logos, the dose of nostalgia and classic feel between these items in hoodies, T-shirts, the quarter zips. I mean, it's all there. Hats. There are so many different items for you to choose from. And with that said, Con, I'll let you go ahead and finish the wax on home field here for a moment as I switch over to Miami and folks are getting a look at some of the nostalgia behind the Miami brand.
Those are clean.
And some
Look
of
at
the
those
prints.
Cream-colored shirts. Ooh.
Yeah. Those are sick, man. Now, look, if you're tight on money, there are options for you. But if you want to splurge, trust me, you will be incredibly thankful for the high-quality stuff like this bomber jacket. Look at this bomber jacket. I mean, where else you can find something like that? I don't know. If I'm going to make a pick based off either of these two teams and their home field pages, it's a push for me. I don't know, Con. I'm going to need you to break the tie, but go ahead and tell us more about HOMEFIELD.
Okay, so first of all, you've got so many different things. HOMEFIELD, my favorite thing about HOMEFIELD is the variety of items and the variety of looks, of logos, of designs. Like, they don't just put the same logo or, feel or look on every single item they have. They change it up, and it's so, refreshing to see an apparel website, apparel company do that. That's what I love most about HOMEFIELD, the pure variety of it all. You can get school-branded baseball and softball pullovers, bomber jackets, unique snapbacks, comfortable, form-fitting T-shirts, joggers, and more. And you can get HOMEFIELD branded apparel with their own logo. HOMEFIELD has everything you need to get geared up for the 2025 Men's College World Series, which begins Friday, June 13th in Omaha. And remember, use the code 3D15, that's 3D15, for 15% off your first order at homefield.com. And we should note, it's your first order. So, new business to HOMEFIELD. Your first order. If you've ordered from HOMEFIELD before.
Cheat code. Earmuffs HOMEFIELD, but we have a cheat code. We have a hack for you.
We do have a cheat code for that. If you've ordered from HOMEFIELD before, you basically would have to make a new account to get this discount.
Use a different email. Come on, make it easy.
Yeah, use a different email, but that's how it would work for you. But if you're new, you've never shopped at HOMEFIELD before, which if you haven't, what are you doing with your life? Yeah. But we are turning you on right now. 3D15 will work for you. And if you have shopped at HOMEFIELD before, use a new email, make a new account. It'll work. There you go. There's the cheat code.
There it is. And look how stealthy and clean and classic this diamond collection is. These pullovers, these hats. I mean, it is incredible. It is exquisite. HOMEFIELDAPPAREL.com. Code is 3D15. The Coastal Carolina drop is coming soon. So for you Coastal fans, be on the lookout. It's coming. For Murray State fans, yeah, you're the one team that is not going to be represented. But guess what? Find HOMEFIELD on social, break down the door of Josh and the rest of the HOMEFIELD family, and they will get to work on something for the Murray State Racers. For everyone else, it's here. It's here. If I'm jumping back to Louisville and I'm jumping back to Miami, and I were to make a pick, my pick this weekend is going to fall on the Miami Hurricanes, Con, and it's this quarter zip right here more than anything with that vintage baseball logo, that green, that Miami dark green with the orange vintage logo. It just pops in incredible ways. I'm going to base my decision right here on HOMEFIELD selection. I'm going with Miami. Who do you like?
All right, so if I'm basing it off of the HOMEFIELD designs, I agree with you. I would lean Miami. However, I'm not. I'm basing it off baseball, and I'm going with Dan McDonald and the Louisville Cardinals. I think they pack too much of an offensive punch. I think their freshman arms will hold up. I think the return of Matt Klein is going to be the big difference maker. Louisville has also had the better of Miami the last two times they've met in the postseason. I'm going to go with the Louisville Cardinals to get back to the Men's College World Series and end that 6-year drought. And also, because Kyle Schassberger, you know this. You know that Louisville is where Louisville Slugger comes from, correct? Yes. But it's a little-known fact that the Louisville Slugger actually started life as a dude, not a baseball bat. The first Louisville Slugger was Pete Browning, who is an outfielder for the Louisville Eclipse professional baseball team. There was a 17-year-old fan named Bud Hillrich who offered to make a bat for him because he was in a slump. He used it, broke out of his slump, got 3 hits the first game he used it. His teammates loved the bat, requested the same bat, kind of similar to how when I was in Little League and I started hitting well, folks wanted to use the Hebrew Hammer, which was the name for my bat. But his teammates then requested the same bat. Bud and his buddy, whose last name is Bradsby, formed the company Hillrich and Bradsby, and that company later became known as Louisville Slugger.
Little known facts have returned with David Kahn. Thank you for injecting that dose of knowledge into my life. We all needed that today. I appreciate that. I love dudes, so to know that it was named after a dude to begin with certainly warms my heart. Look at that Cards 3/4 baseball tee right there, 3/4 sleeve.
That's so good.
And look at the trucker hat on the far right. Tell me that is not my style. Tell me that would not sit on my head just beautifully.
That logo is my style. I don't care. I mean, the hat is amazing in and of itself, but that logo specifically, I want that on everything.
The Heisman pose. It's
yes.
It's dope. Oh, look at it. This is a women's tank. My first thought was before reading women's tank was I can wear that at the gym. I still would rock it at the gym.
You could rock that at the gym. There's plenty of people who wear much less clothing at the gym.
Do you all right.
So you could wear that at the gym, but no. Look, everything home field has is incredible. All right, like it is worth the money, folks. I promise you, it is all worth the money.
Any additional known facts that we should share with Miami, or can you take us to Corvallis?
No, let me take you across the country to Corvallis, where we have Oregon State and Florida State. And Schass, this is going to be a battle of pitching. The starting pitching is elite, right? Oregon State and Florida State both winning their home regionals. Florida State trying to get back to Omaha, second straight year. Oregon State trying to return. Of course, they won the College World Series in 2018 with the famed foul ball drop by Arkansas. Oregon State hosting in Corvallis. They drop their opener, but then take care of business the rest of the way. Host a super. These two teams are top 15 in ERA and top 5 in fielding, which means there will be very little mistakes in this series between both teams. They're both very sound teams on the mound in the field. However, these two teams both have two of the most potent hitters in all of college baseball. For Oregon State, it's Trent Carraway. The guy's homered in 5 straight games. You know the last guy to do that? Travis Bazzana, the number 1 overall pick last year. All right? So he is in elite company. And then for FSU, who else but the Golden Spikes finalist, Alex Lodis. So you've got those two guys who are going to be looking for any little kink in the armor that they can take advantage of from these two teams' pitching and defense. So the key for me in this series is which team will capitalize on the very few mistakes the other team will make.
I can't disagree with you on any of those accounts. I mean, these are two very well coached, very defensive teams. For Florida State, I think there's a little bit more of a certain swagger and loudness to them that I'm curious to know if it's going to travel all the way to the Pacific Northwest, because, anti-FSU folks will certainly not mince words on the way their fans behave, and certainly the energy of the team and pitchers at times and some of the words exchanged to opposing hitters, as we saw this past weekend. Florida State is an in-your-face type ball club. And, for old school baseball minds, they're not going to like the Florida State brand of baseball and the way they conduct themselves on the field. But Link Jarrett, this is what he was hired to do. And last year, so close, probably should have beaten Tennessee in Omaha. I mean, you remember how things unfurled a year ago and the controversy there. But I think FSU is primed to get back to that stage. I'm leaning FSU, but this because Oregon State was at the Supers last year. It was at Kentucky, right?
Yep. And they lost to the Wildcats.
Couldn't break through. And that was on the road. Now they have the benefit throughout and it's a great story, building an independent schedule, earning the 8 seed to be able to host potentially, and they are, because they survived regional weekend, to bring a team like FSU all the way up to Pacific Northwest, corner to corner of the continental United States. That's got to be the furthest trip for anyone, right? It's got to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, easily.
It's so unique for me. We're going to see some marquee pitching matchups, and part of me wants to go with FSU and Link Jarrett, not experiment, but Link Jarrett's presence, and what he's done here to FSU since his return. I think they get back, but I'm going to base this off of a home field pick. So I was just locked in on FSU. You can get a view of some of their items. A lot of heavy football stuff, but trust me, the baseball things are there. Look at that bomber jacket right there. The FSU, those colors, man, is a pop. It's
awesome.
Just, 1990s.
That's got a bowling jacket feel, honestly.
It really does. Look, they even have that weird off blue that they like to use with the maroon.
Yes, that's my favorite. One of my favorites, absolutely.
I mean, it is. Look at these jerseys. Look at this. Look at that inspired baseball pullover from the Diamond Collection right there. I mean, that thing is so rad.
I want it.
An on-field looking cap, the baseball monogram snapback. You can get it in snapback. There's another trucker style. Okay, so I like what FSU is putting up on home field. And then Oregon State, you can just feel that Pacific Northwest air hitting your face in every direction. And the beaver is hard to overcome.
Look at the Go Beaver logo. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Go Bees,
the giant
the Go
Killers
Beaver
T-shirt.
Oh, that is cool. That's
a
cool.
favorite. I like that
Man.
they show people wearing them too, so you can see the fit. That's very
Yeah, the
helpful.
fit is loose. It is relaxed. It is thin. Kind of reminds me of our trip to Hoover, putting on an item from Homefield. And when I got in that shower in our room,
Oh
and
my
I
God.
felt the angel mist just consume my body. It was very light, very gentle. Normally, I'm not that kind of guy when it comes to shower pressure, but let me tell you, this was an angel mist sent directly from God that just drizzled up and down my frame. That's what it feels like when you put on gear from Homefield
Yes.
Apparel.
Yes.
I kid you not. So
Yes, it does.
the Giant Killers sells me, though, and I'm going to take the home team, Oregon State, at home for the Super Regional. I like Oregon State.
So here's why I'm also going to take Oregon State. You know the last time Oregon State hosted a Super Regional?
17.
They did host in 17, but they also hosted in 18. And I just said they won the College World Series in 2018.
Yeah.
They have not hosted a Super Regional since that year. They are at home. Goss Stadium will be electric. Oregon State set attendance records twice in that regional last weekend. They will break that record this weekend, and Mitch Canham is taking the Beavs to Charles Schwab Field. All right, Oregon State, all the way, baby.
I love that. I love that. Just give me the Arquette and Arnold matchup. Oh God, that's gonna
Will
be.
Ava
Will Ava
Arquette take Jamie Arnold deep?
I think he will. I think he will.
Okay.
I think he will. This will be the Beavs weekend. That is my call. Are you tracking this, or do I need to remember who I picked?
It's on the dock, bro. I got you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Third Super Regional site. Chapel Hill.
Wait. Nope. Hang on.
Oh, I need fun facts. I need fun
facts.
facts.
My fun fact.
Okay. Come on.
All right. It is a little known fact that the state of Oregon has a holiday called Exploding Whale Day. Yes, you heard that right. Exploding Whale Day.
Do tell.
Each November 12th, they commemorate the 1970 incident on the coastal town of Florence, Oregon, which is only 83 miles from Corvallis. Don't get up in arms. It's not in Corvallis, all right? A large deceased beached whale was stuck on the shore. Not sure what else to do. The citizens of Florence filled the whale with explosives and blew it up, leaving a horrific mess on the beach. And they celebrate that incident every single year since.
Wow, we celebrate a whale just packed at the gills with explosives disintegrating before everyone's eyes. Man, that does sound like a heinous, horrific mess. That is incredible. Where do you find this?
I spent so long looking these up. It was so much fun. I from 10:30 to midnight last night, I Googled the little known facts about each of the 8 host sites, and I found doozies. If you want to know a little known fact about Corvallis, that has more ghost towns than any other city in America. That's a fun fact about Corvallis, but I found this one better.
Okay, so you spent almost 2 hours on little known facts. I spent 2 hours on something that I will tell you offline, but it's also pretty fun and helps with the Immaculate Vibes currently. None of it related to this podcast. So, all right, let's go to Chapel Hill. I'm going to click over a tab. I've got all this set up. The North Carolina line from HOMEFIELD APPAREL. Again, code 3D15. If you want some UNC injected into your life, you got bomber jackets, you got the tees, you got all these.
Look at the baby, the light blue. The bomber jacket. Scroll back up to that vintage Ramses one. Oh my God.
Ramses. I would have said Ramses. Ramses.
I don't know.
Makes sense. I think it's Ramses.
Okay.
You're probably
but
right.
Imagine, okay, that gives me seersucker suit vibes. All right. Wear that to your high school prom, folks. Like, I'm down for that. Yes. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at that. That's clean. That's so clean.
That is beautiful.
Wow.
That's not on my level, though, bro. I don't think I'm cool enough for that. I don't know.
My dad actually wore a seersucker suit for his wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out Larry.
All right. North Carolina is welcoming Arizona. Kahn demonstrated earlier this week that the Arizona folks will definitely be traveling to Chapel Thrill for this weekend's Super Regional. Arizona also a line, as you can get a look if you're watching on YouTube. You see the basketball Final Four shooting shirt from 1988. Plenty of hoodies. Oh, there's a diamond collection item right there. Look at this Wildcats baseball vintage logo pullover. I've made my selection for Chapel Hill. I have made my selection, and it is solely off of this Arizona Wildcats baseball vintage logo pullover. You got the cactus, you got the mountains, you got the sun. This is a classic logo that just hits every key note in your life. Trust me. Man, I've got some family in Arizona. My Aunt Susie, my cousin Landon. This is what I think of when I think of Arizona through my upbringing. I think of that logo and that history, that color too. Give me Arizona. I've got nothing else. So go ahead and serenade us with UNC in Arizona for this weekend.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, they're at the Bosch, right? So it's advantage UNC because of the fact they play there. They had a regional last weekend. It was a fun regional. They ended up beating Oklahoma in a winner-take-all on Monday. You know, Gavin Gallagher is just on another planet right now and how he's hitting. But I'm going with Arizona too. And here's why. I watched Arizona play in a road ballpark in March, and they were unafraid of West Virginia. West Virginia came into that series as the leader in everything. They were basically unbeaten at that point, and it was like, West Virginia's just beaten Oklahoma State. They, should have no problems with Arizona. Arizona comes in and takes 2 out of 3 from West Virginia, including a 16-inning affair that went until close to 2 in the morning. And the Wildcats won and managed to stay contained, mature, and won that series. I have long said I think Arizona is the best team in the Big 12 this year, and I'm going to stick by it. I've got the Wildcats pulling the upset also because the Wildcats can hit, folks. And you know what the Bosch is? A hitter-friendly ballpark. Lots of balls going into the trees this weekend from the Arizona Wildcat bats.
I would agree. Arizona outfielder Brendan Summerhill has really been coming on. He's a preseason All-American too. Kind of a slow start, but he had to deal through an injury too. I think it was his hand. So maybe the power numbers have not been there, but an all-around guy who I think is going to show up on the biggest stage for Arizona, who came out of nowhere in a lot of ways, right? At the end of the year following the series loss to Utah, which was inexplicable, but the arrow is pointing up. And as long as they can get to Carolina ace Jake Knapp, who is an absolute horse on the mound, that is a big guy, 6'5", 270. He's going in the 7th inning. I think the last 5 outings on the season. If Arizona can't touch Knapp, then it's going to be hard. You got to get whether you're able to endure what Knapp is throwing at you and get into that bullpen and really, make some hay in the later innings, or at least, force him to exit before the 7th. Arizona's got to take game 1. That's the only way for these visiting teams really on the whole. It's hard. I don't know what the numbers are. I would be very curious how many road teams lose game 1 in the Super Regional and come back to win the next 2. I would imagine it's a very low number, very low percentage. But yeah, I'm going to go with Arizona. They got some freshman studs on the mound too. I like what the Wildcats are cooking up. So what can you offer to us for the folks from Tucson?
Oh, so actually, yes, I did not do a Chapel Hill little known fact because no, listen, we did a Chapel Hill Super Regional last year. So I gave you a Chapel Hill little known fact. So I got one from Tucson. I got one from Arizona. All right. Yeah. I got you. And this one is a doozy. This is a doozy. It's a little known fact that the University of Arizona being built in Tucson was actually met with a ton of displeasure. Back in 1885, the community of Tucson sent some council members to the state legislature meeting in Prescott, where towns were divvying up a number of institutions to be built in their towns. However, there was a freak snowstorm in Arizona, and it caused the Tucson members to be days late to the event, and they lost out on getting to choose what they wanted to bring back to Tucson, and they were handed the university as their last option. When they returned to Tucson, they were met with an angry mob who pelted them with rotten tomatoes and dead cats.
Dead cats?
Dead cats.
Where are they getting the dead cats from? Are they killing them themselves?
But I wonder if that is where Wildcats came from. I don't know. I didn't look that up, but I wonder if that is where the Wildcat mascot maybe first was birthed for Arizona.
What year was this snowfall?
1885.
How did the Arizona? Let's fire up the old.
I don't know. It's possible.
How did the Arizona Wildcat name come to be? After a game on November 7th, 1914, Los Angeles Times columnist said the University of Arizona team showed the fight of Wildcats. So Wilbur the Wildcat. Now, there could be maybe some varied truths there. Maybe some folks like to lean into the dead cats that were being thrown. However, I don't know if that's the way the university wants to be perceived of how they got how they got their nickname. I have been able to uncover that a record snowfall in Tucson was 6.8 inches on December 8th, 1971. So that's more than half a foot for those that know their standard of measurements. Historic snowfall. For knowing that. Yeah, memorable snow events like the snow on Easter morning in 1999. Well, we'll save Easter morning 1999 for Tucson for another podcast, potentially. That was probably the same Easter morning that my grandmother provided me with an Easter basket that included WCW versus NWO for the N64, my first wrestling video game. Could have been the year before in 88. Or 98. I always get my years messed up.
Yes.
I always have the last number right of a year, but never any of the three prior.
For like 4 podcasts this year, you said 2015 instead of 2025, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I don't do well with years. Okay.
No.
Which makes sense. I age very well myself. I'd like to think, like fine wine. So why am I concerning myself with years? But when it comes to recalling certain moments in history, I got to be careful. So 1998 was Bash at the Beach with Karl Malone. Okay? And Diamond Dallas Page, DDP, going up against Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman. So it reminds me of the video game, reminds me of Easter morning. Could have been one of those years, 98, 99. Anyways, I appreciate that knowledge that you have provided to us from Tucson, even though it's in Chapel Hill. So way to mix it up. That's why I thought you were going in the Arizona Wildcats direction, just because. Okay. So that's why I was teeing you up for Arizona. So
gotcha.
Really, you revealed more than you needed to in terms of not doing specific homework. You did the homework. You just spun it the way I anticipated you to spin it. So what about the Plains? Butch Thompson has Auburn in a super regional hosting on the Plains. Down year, an anomaly year a year ago. And because of that, I've talked a lot about Auburn. Got to see them up close and personal in Hoover. I know they went on one and done. But welcoming a Coastal Carolina team that, you could argue had the benefit of a down Sun Belt schedule and a very lumbering, I guess, wheeling Florida team who had so many different. Did they even play Florida in their regional? I don't even remember Coastal playing Florida. They had to have. Maybe not.
Coastal played. Who was their 4 seed?
They played ECU twice, and then I forget who the 4 was.
Who was the 4 seed that they beat? I can't even remember who it was in that region.
Central Connecticut, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't have a bracket in front of me. Either way, Florida, I figured the injuries would catch up to them. ECU had caught late lightning in the bottle, late as the 6 seed in Clearwater. I thought Coastal, in spite of maybe getting jobbed of not getting, a higher seed, potentially the 8 or the 9, and then falling to whatever it was they fell to. I don't have it in front of me.
13.
That's right. I thought they got a pretty favorable draw, and they took advantage of it. They swept through their regional. They beat ECU twice, and now it's for real.
Fairfield. That's right. Fairfield.
Now
Mac.
Yeah. Now it's for real though. Now they're going to SEC country, and they're at Auburn, and the freshmen shined brilliantly this past weekend. A guy like Bub Terrell is, I think, a future star. He had a huge weekend. Chase Freilich behind the plate was awesome. They got timely hits from a number of different dudes up and down the order as they swept through and took care of NC State by a wide margin. Low stress, 11-1 win on Sunday. I just think it's manifest destiny for Auburn and their return trip to the Plains or to Omaha. I think Butch Thompson is one of the best in the country and maybe doesn't get enough credit, especially for what he was able to do considering their struggles a year ago. Andres Alvarez hadn't even pitched in, close to a month and comes out and shoves the freshman right-hander for Auburn this past weekend. So it seems like everything, it's been a historic year. You sweep LSU at home for the first time since 1988. And you're one of, I think, 3 teams that won 7 SEC series. I just think Auburn keeps it rolling here this weekend. And I'll go ahead and pull up their tab and let you wax poetic on this matchup. As folks watching on YouTube can see, there is no Coastal line yet But trust me, we got on a call with Josh earlier this week with Homefield. He teased and gave us kind of a sliver, a glimpse of what's to come for Coastal Carolina. And Shots fans are going to be over the moon with what's about to drop for Homefield coming up very shortly.
Yeah, I'm buying the entire Coastal line as soon as it comes out. Everything. Like, it's going to be insane. Like, they have so many good ideas. Auburn has some really cool stuff, too, so keep showing that. Here's the thing with Coastal. So, Coastal plays at a hitter-friendly ballpark in Conway, but their pitching is incredible. I mean, look at this is their starters numbers. Jacob Morrison, 11-0 in 16 appearances, 2.19 ERA, 89 Ks in 90 innings, 191 average against him. Riley Akoff, 15 starts, 6-2, 2.90, 63 Ks and 80 2/3. Cameron Fluke, 7-1 with a 3.12 ERA in 15 starts, 102 strikeouts to 86 innings pitched, 209 average against him. Riley's got a 252 average against him. They've got studs in the bullpen. Ryan Lynch with a .61 ERA and 7 saves. Dominic Carbone, 6-0 in 24 appearances, 2.25 ERA, 5 saves, 47 Ks in 36 innings. They've got so many studs on the mound. They also can hit. They're hitting .290 as a team, led by Caden Bodine. But you've also got Colby Thorndike, who had a really good regional. Ty Dooley, Sebastian Alexander as well to mention, and Blake Barthol, who has 12 homers to lead the team with 50 RBIs. Like, Coastal is such a deep squad. And yes, did they play in the Sun Belt? Sure. But there's a reason this team is a top 16 national seed. They can play. They've won 21 in a row. The key for me this weekend, Schass, is going to be that Auburn hitting. It's going to be, can Ike Irish, Cooper McMurray, Chase Fralick, Bub Terrell, can those guys find a way to get hits and string runs together against Coastal's incredible pitching? Because I think Coastal will hit against Auburn's pitching. Sam Dutton is the ace of that staff, but I think behind him, you've got Cam Tilley, you've got some other guys out there, but like, I do think there are cracks in that Auburn staff, and I think Coastal will take advantage of it. The key is, can Auburn find enough runs against this Coastal Carolina pitching staff, who has pitched well in hitter-friendly ballparks before? And I feel like you said Plainsman Park is a hitter's ballpark. I don't remember. I've never been there. But I feel like when you went there, obviously, Ryder Helfrich knew it was a hitter's ballpark. He likes his taters mashed. But
I think the jury might be out on that. It can play big to certain areas. You got the War Eagle wall in left, which can create a shorter porch. But man, it's an amazing ballpark. And look, I don't think I could be speaking wrongly, but I don't think there's a major advantage one way or the other. I think it plays pretty true. I'm just, this thing just got newly renovated too. I mean, this is like it's not brand new, but I mean, Plainsman Park and the upgrades and what they've done to this facility and the success they've had at home this year, now to be able to celebrate all of that with the Super Regional. I know Coastal Carolina hasn't lost since April 22nd. They've won 21 consecutive games. Their last loss 4-2 to College of Charleston on April 22. Like, sorry, Coastal. I think it's going to come to a crashing halt this weekend. I just think all the momentum here, in spite of the winning streak for Coastal, is riding with the stars are aligned with the Auburn Tigers, and I'm taking Auburn. So you got a little known fact?
I'm taking Coastal, by the way.
Okay.
If you couldn't tell. I've got Coastal winning in 3. So their streak ends, but they win in 3. So Coastal will take the decider of this series. And yes, I have a little known fact for Auburn, though. It is a little known fact that back in 1896, before an Auburn-Georgia Tech football game, Auburn students greased the train tracks that Georgia Tech's team train would be coming in on. The train skidded to a stop 5 miles past the station, forcing the team to have to make the trek back on foot. Georgia Tech would go on to lose 45-0.
Holy smokes. Okay. That's brilliant. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Homefield is doing a thing for the summer, too. This is week 4 of summer school. So Auburn has had a newly juiced up addition to their brand on HOMEFIELDAPPAREL.com, and that comes in the form of hats. They've got, I think it's 8 new hats, and you're seeing a few of them now. They've got a lot of different hat options to the Auburn Tigers. So trust me, there is something for everyone for the 14 to 16 participating schools, 190 different schools and partners across the entire website. Again, a Coastal line is coming soon. So I'm going with Auburn. As we pivot to the Los Angeles Regional on the right side of the bracket, Con. And we're with you for maybe another 15 or 20 minutes. We'll go quickly through this. I want to pivot and tell you about what I think is going to happen in Los Angeles with these games being earlier and what could be the final home games because of the lease situation with Jackie Robinson Stadium. But I think the ball is going to fly, Tom, with the Roadrunners and with the Bruins. I think there's going to be a lot of offense with these games being played earlier in the day because, and this is what I was going to bring up in Hoover when we only saw 20 home runs throughout the week of the SEC baseball tournament, my hypothesis was that the Marine layer was going to take over and had taken over in Hoover, some phantom marine layer that I was just speaking into existence where the air became heavy and moist and balls weren't able to fly out of the park. But that is the reason for a place in Los Angeles why the ball might not be flying out of the yard as much as it may be earlier in the day when the conditions are hot. So, yeah, I was just going to poke fun and say the marine layer when we were at the SEC tournament. But that is a reality for schools that are on the coast, and certainly where the games will be played this weekend. I think there's going to be plenty of offense. Rock Chalowski, he is a rock star. This dude got, and this could be an opportunity to talk about the Golden Spikes Award semifinalists. I think this guy was robbed of being one of the finalists for this award. Those three are Fahiva Aloy of Arkansas. We've got Alex Lodis at Florida State, and we've got Liam Doyle at Tennessee. Tennessee has never had a Golden Spikes Award winner. So, but Rock Chalowski, what he's been able to do, I mean, this guy, he's going to be an absolute stud, man. I got to find his numbers. His WAR though, his wins above replacement. Okay, according to Synergy and 643 charts. 6.45. That's his wins above replacement. Well ahead of Andrew Fisher, who's at 5.60 of Tennessee. And then Fahiva Aloy is at 4.67, who is one of the finalists. I mean, nobody can hold a candle to what Rock Chalowski has been doing this season for UCLA. So I'm leaning UCLA, but convince me otherwise. And I'm going to go ahead and present UCLA and UTSA Roadrunners Meet gear here, a program that only made the NCAA tournament 3 times before this season. The Roadrunners 23-4 during the AAC year, beating Texas, knocking out the number 2 overall seed. They find themselves now on the road at a team with tremendous history in UCLA who won it all in 2013.
Yeah, so I agree with you that I think the warm weather is going to make Jackie Robinson Stadium an absolute launching pad this weekend because Game 1 and Game 2 are slated for day games. I believe they're 4 and noon West Coast time, Pacific time. So I do believe it will make it a launching pad. And Rock Chalowski is going to have himself a weekend because he didn't homer in the Los Angeles Regional, despite UCLA winning it. 23 homers on the season, 3 behind Division I leaders Mason Neville of Oregon and Boston Smith of Wright State. Guess what? They're both donezo. So Rock Chalowski has a chance to claim the home run title this weekend if he can hit 4 bombs. Now, that's a lot to ask, but he's Rock Chalowski, all right? He can do anything.
Hey, man, Angel Cano could do it.
Yeah,
I think Rock is due.
Yeah. Oh, he's more than due. He didn't homer in the regional. So I'm riding the Rock Chalowski, UCLA. Now, here is how UTSA will beat UCLA if it happens. UCLA's starting pitchers average only around 3 innings a start. They're a big bullpen team. They mix and match a lot out of the pen. And in a regional, it's tougher to do because you got to play potentially 4 or 5 games. In a super, you're kind of okay to do that because only 3 games max. So you can plug and play a little bit more freely if you're UCLA here. But UTSA is outscoring teams by 77 runs in the first 3 innings of a ball game. So if they can jump on the UCLA starters early and knock them out, that's the way the Roadrunners are going to win this game. However, I'm riding with Rock Chalowski. I'm riding with the Bruins. Give me UCLA, UCLA, to the national championship at the College World Series.
UTSA can really swing it too. Maybe not as much power, but of course, I think the ballpark and the conditions can help that. But their .317 batting average is 7th nationally. And I think there's some parallels to what Texas State had done at Stanford a couple of years ago, where Texas State was very close to knocking out Stanford. Stanford Cardinal had to use a miraculous rally late to be able to thwart the Bobcats. But, similar DNA the Roadrunners have to what Texas State had a couple of years ago, also on the West Coast. So you can see some symmetry there. it's going to be fun, man. I mean, it's like a David versus Goliath type thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you take UCLA, you take UTSA. You know, whose U is better? I don't know. Whose acronym is better? I don't know.
Well, let me tell you some little known facts about the city of Los Angeles.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Because they had some very peculiar laws instituted back in the day. Now, most of these have been repealed, but they're funny nonetheless. I found 6 of them. Number 1, it was illegal for a balloon to fly more than 5 feet above the ground in Los Angeles. Number 2,
What?
moths are not to be hunted under streetlights. That was a law.
Moths?
Moths, MOTHS.
Yeah.
Like the bugs that really you can only, they're attracted to light.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to hover under streetlights?
Hunt. You couldn't hunt them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hunt.
I didn't know people hunted moths. I guess it's
Neither
just
did
trying to. I guess it's just trying to dissuade you from, killing the nature that exists in their natural habitat that they gravitate towards, like the lights.
Correct. Yeah. Number 3, it is illegal to lick a toad, which why anyone would be licking a toad, beyond me, but psychedelics, I guess, whatever. It's illegal. Number 4, if you sit at an outdoor restaurant table, you are breaking the law. That one has obviously been repealed, but it was a law at one point. So you couldn't sit outdoors, basically.
How do they police this with a city this big? Well, I guess it was before.
Well, this was back in the day. This is back in the day. Yeah. Number 5, it is against the law to cry on the witness stand in a courtroom.
I guess I would be imprisoned because
I was going to say,
crying
you're a
is my
witness, you're getting
specialty.
interrogated,
Yeah.
and you cry, you go to jail? Like what?
Yeah.
And finally, this is the best one. Number 6, you may not drive more than 2,000 sheep down Hollywood Boulevard at any one time. Where they came up with that number, I have no earthly idea why it's 2,000 and why the heck they care about sheep getting driven down Hollywood Boulevard. But that was a law in the city of Los Angeles at one point.
Well, it's before, when people are settling on the West Coast, it's all, farm and pasture land.
Yeah.
Geez, that's mind-boggling, dude. Give me John Savage and the history of UCLA and making a run back to Omaha. It's been a while for them. So won it all in 2013. They were in the championship series in 2010. I think they're due. I've been a big fan of UCLA and certainly rock throughout the year. So I think they're going to have enough power here and enough grit on the mound to be able to overcome the upstart Roadrunners of UTSA, but still an incredible story for them. So who are you going with? UCLA?
UCLA. Yeah, give me the Bruins.
All right. Duke and Murray State. We got a super regional at Jack Coombs Field. The Duke program, I think I incorrectly, just spouting off earlier this week, mentioned Duke had never been to Omaha. They have. It's been a long time. I think it was like the early 60s.
1961.
Yeah, 1961. But Chris Pollard hasn't gotten Duke there, and it's been a long drought that I think is going to come to an end. I like the Blue Devils at home against another upstart team in Murray State. If you're a Duke fan, you're worried about certainly the offense, the power that the Racers displayed in bunches, which has been part of their MO all season long, and they were able to flex their muscles at Swayze Field in Oxford this past weekend. Can you find enough of the pitching? The apparent loss in Game 1 is we're awaiting word from an appeal of Duke for AJ Gracia for the phantom injection with the home run prop that we litigated on Tuesday's show. I'm not expecting any news there, but an appeal has been formally put in. That's going to certainly hamper. You wonder about Ben Miller's health as he had gotten hit by a pitch and was not able to play in the final game for the Blue Devils as they swept through Athens. Kind of reminded me of what Caden Sorrell and Jace Lavalette had experienced getting hit on the hand. But Power did say earlier this week with Matt Schick and watching ACC Now, aren't you proud of me, man? I've been injecting it as much as I can into my veins. Pollard said that he fully expects Miller to be a go and in the lineup. So it's kind of like a trade 1-for-1, at least in Game 1. And then maybe you're fully healthy offensively, ready to go for Game 2. But can the pitching hold up against Murray State? I'm not too sure Where are you feeling with this matchup at the Coombs in Durham?
So for Duke, yes, they haven't been to Omaha since 1961. However, it's their 4th super regional since 2018, and they have won a game in all 3 previous super regionals, and none of these have been at home for Duke.
Yeah.
They finally got one at home. They have the experience of playing in supers. Murray State's got a great offensive team, but Duke's pitching staff only allowed 10 runs in the regional in total. I got the Blue Devils finally knocking down the door and getting back to Omaha.
History will be made either way, whether it's Murray State or whether it's the Blue Devils. I'm feeling Duke for those same reasons. Finally getting this one at home. They've been so close, just haven't been able to get over the hump. What Chris Pollard has built there over the years, and certainly more recently, his adaptation of the transfer portal and getting the right guys and punching the right buttons, and how unique he's been too. And working his pitching staff throughout the last couple of years and implementing openers when necessary and really relying on the bullpen and getting big-time performance. I mean, Duke has done everything right. They just haven't been able to win at this stage. And I think that'll change this weekend. They've got a great draw. Say what you want about Murray State, but not many people outside of Racer Nation expected Murray State to be here, or for Duke to come out of Athens the way that they did and now to be hosting a super regional. It's a tremendous opportunity for this program and for Duke to do it on this stage. I think it's time. So I like the Blue Devils. I haven't clicked over on home field, but there is plenty for those that are on the YouTube stream that may see certainly a ton of basketball items, right? Tons of basketball related items. And man, the vintage Blue Devil logo, look at this back-to-back national championship sweater, 91, 92. These sweaters can be used as like pillows. I mean, really, they're so soft. So soft, so comfortable. You've got a Duke football 99 Victory Bell, or is that 89? 89 Victory Bell championship tee also. I just couldn't read that one, Kahn, all right? I thought it said 99. I'm looking at the screen. That's a different, issue that I deal with, okay, is seeing. I need
you
new
do
glasses.
know there's a title of what year it is.
Well, I'm not looking at I'm not looking at the characters underneath the picture. I'm just looking at the picture. God, your eyes go somewhere, my eyes go somewhere else. Always.
All right.
Look at that quarter zip.
Oh, I want that. I want that so badly. Anyways, here's the thing. People are worried about Duke controlling Murray State's offense. Like I said, 10 runs all weekend in Athens against Georgia, who led the nation in homers and hits the ball out of Foley Field like crazy. Come on now. All right? They can take care of it. All right?
Great point.
Georgia, Oklahoma State. Boom. Dukies. Actually, you know what? I might have to take that back. Duke never played Georgia this weekend.
They didn't, no. And I think I even misspoke at one time because their clinching game is over Oklahoma State with the
I need to take that
Gracia.
Back. They played Oklahoma State, what, twice? Yeah, they played them twice.
Yeah.
Now Duke never played Georgia.
Now I'm doubting you. I'm pulling it up. Damn it. I've got it. So far from my memory.
Play Georgia?
Now. Who played who? Yeah, they played.
Oh, they did. Okay, they played him once. I was like, wait, yes, they did, because Georgia didn't lose to the 4 seed.
Yeah, I was watching that game on Saturday.
Whatever, and they won 6-3, so they controlled Georgia's offense. All right, I was right. Never mind. Why am I doubting myself? I'm so sorry.
Stop.
Anyways, it's a little known fact that the barcode was pioneered in Durham's Research Triangle Park by a man named George Lauer. The very first item scanned with said barcode was a 10-pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit chewing gum, which is now on display at the Smithsonian Museum.
Where is the Smithsonian Museum?
I think
I hear people talk about this place, but can I go visit it?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Washington D.C. Yeah, well, the Smithsonian Institution is in D.C. Yeah, DC.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. Sorry, I got distracted by some of these Diamond Collection pullovers. Look at those Texas A&M Aggies. Look at the Purdue script on some of that.
Ooh, the Yukon Hook C. Look at the Yukon Hook C. Oh, yeah. The Vandy jerseys. Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Dude, Homefield can't do any better. They just can't. I mean, they're too good.
A little Pittsburgh Pirates vibe. While I'm looking at the Virginia here, I got to say something about Brian O'Connor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people from Virginia are up in arms because he went through, put out a statement I don't know if he do the introductory press conference. That's what I'm unclear on. I know they were doing a big welcoming thing.
I don't know.
Thursday at the Dude, but folks are saying, and I've got it on good authority, that this man did not mention Virginia one time in a forum where he should have, in terms of referencing where he's come from and what his previous stop did for him. So there
He
are
did not. It's tonight. It's tonight when they're welcoming him.
Well, whatever statement that has been issued since then, I've seen it float around the Twitter spheres, which of course take with a grain of salt. But one note in particular, O'Connor was at Virginia longer than Calipari at Kentucky, longer than Jay Wright was at Villanova, Roy Williams at UNC, Nick Saban at Alabama. All those coaches in some way at least had verbalized, something about their past. For Cal, it's hard to not to, given what happened with him leaving Kentucky to Arkansas last offseason during the Final Four. But I just thought it was something worth bringing up that O'Connor, now maybe he makes right on that tonight. So we'll see. But the Virginia folks appear to be broken a bit by O'Connor's exit and lack of at least acknowledging what the community of Charlottesville and that program provided for him. So we'll see what officially comes out of Starkville here later tonight. All right, I got Duke. You got Duke?
Yep.
All right, take us to where we're going next. Is that Baton Rouge?
All right, we're going to Baton Rouge. We're calling Baton Rouge, Kyle Schassberger, because it's West Virginia and LSU. The Mountaineers, for the first time since the 1960s in the NCAA tournament, for 3 consecutive years, back-to-back supers, the first 2 supers ever in program history for West Virginia. They're running up against a freight train, though, in LSU. The team with the most College World Series titles of any team remaining in the field was 7, second most all-time behind USC, who has 12. And LSU really had to labor through that regional, right? Little Rock took them to a Game 7. Little Rock led 5-1 in the second before LSU's offense took over. Anthony Ianson closed it out nighty-night. LSU and West Virginia fans are like oil and water. I mean, this is going to be a rowdy weekend. How many West Virginia fans will even be able to get tickets to Alex Box Stadium? I don't know, because LSU might buy the whole place out minus the section reserved for the visiting team. Like, it's going to be rowdy. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere. And here's the thing. I don't think West Virginia has faced a 1-2 punch like Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson that LSU possesses.
Nobody has.
Right. They have faced a team with a feared hitter in Ethan Fry. They just faced Cam Canarella, and he continued to get hits off of them all weekend. But he was kind of really the only consistent hitter for Clemson. But I don't know if they face the pitching that they're going to face this weekend with Ianson and Anderson. West Virginia also needs to clean it up defensively. They made 5 errors Sunday in the regional final against Kentucky, so that's a big problem. If you're West Virginia, I think you need to switch the rotation up and start Jack Kartsonis, Game 1, the mustachioed man. Start Kartsonis, bullpen it after him, and then you've got Griffin Kern, who got the save in the final game, win in Game 1. Griffin Kern, you say, young man, here's the ball. And you tell the rest of the bullpen, don't even put your jerseys on. Griffin Kern, whole game. That's how you win that super regional if you're West Virginia. You get a 6-inning start from Kartsonis. You go Meyer and Bassinger Game 1, and finish it off in Game 1. Kern, complete game, Game 2, nighty-night. That's the only, and if it works that way, great. West Virginia will win. I don't think it's going to work that way. And I think LSU's pitching is going to be too much for West Virginia's bats, who are hitting at the right time. I mean, Armani Guzman of all people. This dude was a bench rider for most of his career in West Virginia, and he comes out and goes 8 for 12 with 6 runs batted in, 2 game-winning at-bats, a base hit and a sac fly, and he's the MVP of the regional. So, like, everybody is performing right now for West Virginia at the right time. They are firing on all cylinders. But I think LSU's pitching is going to be too good. I've got the Fighting Tigers back in Omaha.
If I were making this pick directly off of home field, I'd go with West Virginia, no question. And I want to lean with West Virginia just because they've been a team that's been so close, as you well know, Kahn. And you've covered this team and filled in over the last handful of years or so, and you were able to call that big series with Arizona in town and Morgantown. I mean, you know better than anyone the history and the identity of this team, and certainly through the coaching change too, from AZ to Sabins, and what this team has been through. And it started to become a joke late in the year when, they were losing midweek games and then they bow out of the Big 12 tournament. But this team knows how to perform when the best is asked of them. And they put that on full display this past weekend at Clemson, as you have eloquently laid out. And if the stars align properly on the road at Baton Rouge, yeah, things can happen. But I think that pitching matchup, as you talked about, what they have to face in Cade Anderson and then Anthony Ianson. How about Ianson, a guy who never came out of the bullpen all year, and then he comes in and closes the door in game one in Hoover that they played on a Friday night, and then he has to come in and get a save the other night in the regional. So, and the star power that is there, I think it's just too much for West Virginia to be able to overcome. And I think Jared Jones hasn't even, reached his ceiling here in the postseason. He didn't do much in Hoover. Sure, they got guys in every spot in the order, though, right? So it doesn't matter. He's been picked up by guys like Ethan Fry, who has just been a monster this second half of the season. Didn't really play at all last year because of injury. And that 2023 year, there was nowhere for Jay Johnson to fit him in the lineup because it was just, bustling at the seams with MLB draft talent. And that's just it. LSU has the guys that are going to dominate the draft boards. West Virginia does not. West Virginia does not have the flash. But they don't need the flash either. They just need to play sound defense, get some otherworldly pitching performances and some clutch, timely hits against some pretty, staunch pitching, and maybe it adds up. I'm most excited about the collection of fans in Baton Rouge for whatever West Virginia fans are able to get tickets and get into the building at Alex Box. It's going to be, I think, very similar-minded individuals in many ways, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And it can make, I think, for some real mutual respect, I think, between the fan bases. Yeah, they're going to be at each other's throats, but I think LSU fans are going to see a lot of themselves in the West Virginia fans that are there, and vice versa. And I think that can make for a fantastic kumbaya-type moment. It's my favorite super regional matchup in terms of fan bases. We'll get to Arkansas and Tennessee in a moment. That's my favorite matchup on paper, and there are some juicy details there. But in terms of the fans, the tradition, the brand, and what each of those programs and their collective universities mean to the people of their respective states, I am fired up for this one. But I'm going to take the smart play and go with LSU here.
All right, so you are taking LSU, even though you would go West Virginia home field.
Yes, and the West Virginia home field, for those watching along, I mean, gosh, goodness, look at the Diamond Collection.
So
Take me home hoodie. I mean, are you kidding me? The ridge
look at that
of the
hat.
future?
Scroll back up to that hat. Right there. That snapback.
Dude, how about the Division of Forestry shirt?
Yep, amazing.
I mean, I just love the theme of all of the tees as well. Look at this clean West Virginia with the state on there.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. They got some Rich Rod stuff apparently on there now too. The new old football coach for West Virginia.
Yeah.
So great stuff. Amazing stuff. For the Mountaineers, go get your stuff home field. Remember 3D15, 15% off your first order. 3D15 at homefieldapparel.com. Your fun fact.
Yes.
Your little known fact about LSU. Everyone knows about Mike the Tiger. All right. That's the live mascot for LSU. However, did you know he was actually originally named Sheik? The tiger was purchased in 1936 from Little Rock Zoo after a fundraising effort by the university's student body, and the name Mike was chosen to honor Mike Chambers, the football athletic trainer for LSU at the time, who played a key role in securing the mascot.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Chic.
Yes.
I don't know if this ever came up on this show, but Mike the Tiger, the actual costumed mascot, my daughter, her side of the family that's in Baton Rouge, they are responsible for and have been for many years, maybe not as much most recently, but certainly when I lived down in Baton Rouge 14 to 16, they're responsible for helping to retrofit Mike's gear to fit whatever the occasion is, whether it's a Mardi Gras thing or a Halloween thing, and, basically change the outfit and the wardrobe and make it fit for the costume Mike and whoever is wearing it to keep up with the time. I remember gave him a grill in his mouth, and then had the facial hair to match. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. And then the Golden Girls costumes as well, they were responsible for. So yeah, that's just a personal nugget. But
love it.
Okay, you're going LSU?
Yes.
Okay, going against your heart, man. Going against your heart.
It hurts, but I'm picking with my head, not my heart.
Yeah, smart man. And hopefully, I mean, if LSU plays the way they did this past weekend, it's not going to happen. But I expect.
If they play like they did in the regional, West Virginia will win 2-0 and it will be over.
Yeah, I expect a resurgence. Okay, Tennessee and Arkansas, part 2. We saw them May 15th, 16th, and 17th in Fayetteville, our final super regional site. This one we get started on Saturday. Tennessee won game 1 in May 10-7. Arkansas won 8-6 and 8-4 the other two. You can start with Tony Vitello, who, before getting the head coaching job at Tennessee, his stop prior was at Arkansas as the recruiting coordinator. And there is a vast amount of respect between him and DVH. Arkansas fans, let me back up. Tennessee fans are scared to death that if Tony V were to leave, and especially what we talked about with DVH earlier this week, if he were to leave for any school, it would be Arkansas. So there's that layer, but that's less in the forefront because Tony V is not going anywhere right now. Neither is DVH, but you can expect fireworks at the Balm. In Fayetteville, on the mound, at the plate, in the field, dugouts will be chirping, but it won't be necessarily Tennessee Vandy like chirping. There'll be an extra layer, I think, of mutual respect there. But this will be some elite, high level, Titanic like baseball that'll be played this weekend. I'm gonna go with Arkansas because I picked Arkansas to win it all at the start of this tournament. Now, the start of the season, back in February, you and I both picked Florida. You and I are both on the same page, though, now, since early last week, Arkansas, correct? So I know where you're leaning, unless you've, broken new ground and had an epiphany of sorts to change your allegiance, but...
Nope. My only comment on this series is I'm excited for Liam Doyle versus Zach Root. 1v1. And the winner of this series will win the Golden Spikes Award between Vahiva Aloy and Liam Doyle.
Ooh, okay, good call. I like that. Added prediction. Surefire lock?
Surefire lock.
I mean, you're hedging slightly, 1/3 of the way, but no, nope. I'll give that to you. Lock.
Yeah. Vahiva Aloy and Arkansas go to Omaha. Vahiva Aloy is your Golden Spikes Award winner. Liam Doyle, Tennessee go. Liam Doyle is your Golden Spikes Award winner. Alex Lodis, sorry about it. That's my thought there. But I'm picking Arkansas. So I'll say Vahiva Aloy wins the Golden Spikes Award. And Schass, my very last little-known fact. It is a little-known fact that the World Cheese Dip Championship is held in Little Rock, Arkansas, every year. And it attracts thousands of visitors. And actually, Kyle Schassberger, it's happening this Saturday, June 7th, at Dickey Stevens Park, the home of the Arkansas Travelers, from 12 to 3 p.m. It started in 2010. And it celebrates the fact that Arkansas is widely known for introducing cheese dip to America back in 1935. Patrons at this event get to sample and vote on their favorite cheese dip made by folks all around the country to crown the winner. They also have a beer festival going on at the same time. Beer and cheese. Duh. Perfect match. So that's happening in Little Rock. And also, if you want a Fayetteville-specific one, the town of Fayetteville is actually named after Fayetteville, Tennessee, which is super ironic, considering who Arkansas is playing this weekend.
Very much so. Well done. Get your beer and cheese and find your DD. Hit that festival up early in Little Rock. Be out of there by 1 o'clock, and you can maybe make a 4 o'clock first pitch local time in Fayetteville on Saturday for game 1 of the series. Otherwise, you'll certainly be there on Sunday, Monday, TBD. So I've said all year, Arkansas at their best is better than anybody else in the country. But Tennessee can be volatile, but when they've got it going on, they certainly do. Two extremely offensive teams. Tennessee has 128 home runs. They hit 304 this year. Arkansas, 120 home runs, 313 as a team. Tennessee, just to tell you how close these two teams are, Tennessee has scored 5 more runs than Arkansas in the entire season. 5 more runs, 524 to 519. Otherwise, it's a wash. But I do like Vahiva Aloy to win the Golden Spikes Award no matter what, unless Liam Doyle, does have just a masterful performance, which I expect him to, give 6, potentially throw into the 7th inning. And if he's dealing, he might go even longer depending on the pitch count. So this is going to be a tremendous matchup. I am juiced for it. I will be listening to the start of this one as I am probably driving in Indiana, getting very close to getting home. So I might be able to catch the finish of this one on television, but I'll have Phil Elson would be my cup of tea on the Razorback Sports Network. So
who has a better home field line, though?
Ooh, okay. Well, if I'm looking at Tennessee, the Smoky shirt is hard to beat.
Yeah, it's really hard to beat.
And look, you're dealing with the Lady Vols color scheme too here with the blue, similar to like what we saw with Florida State with the alternate. Blue, very prevalent, very present when we're talking about Tennessee and especially the Lady Volunteers. So, big orange, man. It's it gives me kind of a Oregon State vibe, not just because of the colors, but to the cleverness, I think, with the language on the tees and some of the logo. I mean, these are so look how simple, the Vols with the logo with the 3 stars in the center of the state script tee. I mean, it's so cool. But the Smoky shirt, super cool. Arkansas, man, you got a wide range. I mean, that Diamond Collection pullover might be my favorite. What Arkansas has.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. That Arkansas A. Oh.
Well, look, you can do a bundle too. HomeFieldApparel.com. Use that code, okay? If you've already made home field purchases, Kahn has already instructed you. Find another way. Find another email. I refuse to believe you don't have a burner account with another email, okay? We all do, okay? Do better. Do better. Just like if you haven't had any home field in your life, do better with your life. It's easy, though. Use the one email you have. But find a way. Get 15% off, 3D15. Get yourself a bundle. Get like a little gym duffel bag type thing here, man. That thing is right up my alley. And the hat is amazing. So I think it's a wash, much like their offensive numbers this year between Arkansas and Tennessee. You can't go wrong with either. So either one of them, you couldn't go wrong. So, man, I am out of breath, bro. What else do we need to talk about? Super regionals.
So nothing else with super regionals. However, we should mention our friends at backyardbaseballbros.com. All right, because the Borgo Ball is continuing to make waves across social media. Folks are posting about it. There's now I saw some kind of live stream where they're pitching with the Borgo Ball, but they're turning it into MLB The Show. Yeah. There's so much going on right now with Borgo Balls. Backyardbaseballbros.com. Is Bubblegum Blast out yet? Let me see here.
It's coming soon. I've already got it up. So get your orders in. Bubblegum Blast, next limited edition.
Summer 2025. Yeah.
Pink ball, blue laces, perfect combo for summer heat. BackyardBaseballBros.com. The Bergonio brothers, the entire family, they've been incredibly good to us. We've tried to reciprocate that as best we can, and we certainly have enjoyed our relationship very much with them this year. And, of course, the winner of our bracket challenge, which right now Ethan is the leader in the clubhouse, will get a 4-pack of Borgo Balls, likely the OG ones. I don't want to overpromise, but you'll get a 4-pack of the Borgo Balls delivered right to you. So,
yes, you will.
Thank you to Backyard Baseball Bros. Did you watch – you might have a coaching carousel note for me, and you can get that in. But did you watch the Women's College World Series last night? I'm going to guess no, you didn't have time.
I did not. I have been very, very bogged down with a lot of things. And you know what? I could have had it on in the background, so I'm ashamed of myself, but I did not.
You could have. Okay. Texas won 2-1. They take game 1. Okay. They got
over
game 1.
Kennedy?
Over Kennedy. Yes.
Wow.
And here's how it happened. So Texas Tech entered this game having not trailed in their last 82 1/3 innings.
Yep.
I mean, we're going back to early May here. Just insane. And Kennedy's the star transfer that we talked about a month back or a few weeks ago. We sprinkled in how, she's a star who transferred from Stanford, of all places, which is kind of head scratching to leave there to go to Texas Tech. But she reportedly has a $1 million NIL deal. So, and Texas Tech has a first-year head coach in softball in Glasgow. I mean, what is going? Whatever. Another podcast, another time. But here's what you need to know, Kahn. First of all, there were too many reviews. It really.
There's been a lot. There's been a lot in softball. A lot.
And it's such a fast-paced, quick game. Even if there's not a lot of offense, I think that puts under the microscope even more when you do have a review. It is a drag, man. Because you're fast, these innings are quick, but then when you have a review, it's what are we doing? It slows it down insanely more. So that's one. But what you need to know is this was a 1-0 game.
Mm.
I believe it was the 6th inning. Texas Tech was up. Yeah, it would have been the bottom of the 6th. Texas Tech will be the home team tonight as they try to even the series and force game 3 on Friday. There was a runner on, 2 runners on. Kennedy was looking to, and Texas Tech, intentionally walk to load the bases to create a force everywhere, okay? And I believe there were 2 outs, but it was, sorry, I don't have all the, what you need to know is it was an intentional walk with Texas Tech up 1-0, where the count was 3-0 on Reese Atwood, who is the Texas catcher at the plate. So you have to throw the pitches still in softball. And it's something that Glasgow admitted, the head coach, they don't ever practice this. You know where I'm going here? The catcher for Texas Tech was not even setting up that far outside to make this obvious, okay? And you got a catcher herself, the Texas hitter, in Reese Atwood, who is a catcher. She's probably peering back. She's got an idea. She watched a few balls. None of them really far off the plate at all. And she smartly, on a 3-0 pitch, man, this ball was almost right down the middle of the plate. She swung at it and ripped it in into a hole for a 2-run single that ultimately was the difference, 2-1, and Texas won the game. Nuts, dude. It was
you got to practice that stuff.
Absolutely nuts. Catcher not set out far enough, and the all everything $1 million gal in Kennedy does not throw it enough outside. And who knows? Texas may have still been able to punch something through, but on a 3-0 pitch, when you're trying to intentionally walk Reese Atwood, and then she delivers a single that scores 2, ultimately the game winner and the difference. So Texas wins 2-1. Just crazy stuff in OKC on Wednesday night.
That's wild. That is absolutely insane, especially with how Texas Tech even got to the finals by giving up a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run homer to Abby Dayton to tie the game in the 7th inning, and then walking it off in the bottom half to even get to the finals over the 4-time defending national champion Oklahoma Sooners. So that is crazy stuff. I will watch tonight then. Lock me in.
Lock it in, bro. Lock it in. My stepson's in town from Baton Rouge. I'm going to get dinner with him and Pudge because it'll probably be the last opportunity they really get to hang out since we leave for Chicago Saturday. So I've got a dinner, but I'll get that game on at some point, and then we'll all be tuned in to Super Regionals starting on Friday. Again, 4 games starting on Friday. You'll have 8 games on Saturday. Maybe more than 4 on Sunday, likely, but and then TBD into Monday as well. The regional rundown will be around. Do you have anything that you want to add in terms of the carousel with what I know? Ohio, I believe, has hired a head coach. I don't know if I did see that.
I actually didn't see that, so that's interesting. I don't know that they hired him, but I mean, it's Bill Masiello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's Ohio State. Excuse me. That's Ohio State.
Well, Ohio State's.
Wait a minute. I'm reading. I'm getting confused by Google results here.
Yeah, it's Andrew C., head coach of Ohio baseball.
There it is. Okay, Andrew C., former Bobcat, the new head coach of Ohio baseball. All right, there we go. I was reading the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Andrew C. is the head coach of Ohio. I did not see that. No, I mean the coaching carousel biggest thing is who's going to be at Virginia. A lot of people think Tom Walter. A lot of people think Chris Pollard. Maybe Scott Brown, the pitching coach at Vandy. We'll see.
Okay. That and Georgia Tech are the 2 probably.
Oh, yeah. Who's going to go to Georgia Tech? Yeah.
Biggest ones that are. And you would think Georgia Tech they've had ample time, right, to at least get their mind together.
I think they've probably zeroed in on who they want.
Yeah, and it might just be elevating somebody too. You don't know, potentially. But the Virginia thing, not that it catches them by surprise, because Brian O'Connor was calculated into potentially making a move prior. So
South Carolina,
these athletic directors always have a list, right? They always got a list. It's just a matter of, do they got to push that button and go to it and pick up the bat phone? So now that's what Virginia's doing, and Georgia Tech has had a head start on all of this since Danny Hall announcing that it would be his final year. So anything else from you and emptying the notebook, or can we say goodbye and then we'll be back on Tuesday?
Nope. Goodbye. Have a safe drive to Chicago, and I will talk to you from the Windy City on Tuesday when we have our 8 for Omaha.
Yeah, hopefully I don't set my wallet on top of the car. That was the story I wanted to tell you about from Monday. So we'll save that for a more suitable time. So Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. He's David Kahn. I'm Kyle Schassberger at Kyle Schass at SportsCon4 at 3D Dingers is where you can find us. Enjoy Super Regional Weekend, everyone. Bye.